Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a daily coin analysis. Today I am going to be reviewing Cardano ADA, and this is a very old coin, so I'm interested to talk about the technical analysis on it. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. So ADA is one of these old Ethereum killers, and it was born in the bull run of 2017. This went along with several others like Neo and EOS and a few other quote-unquote ETH killers. Really did very well during that 2017 run. This was obviously the greatest alt season of all time, and all of those old charts, really any altcoin chart during that time, really just skyrocketed. And then it had a very, very, very ugly retracement over the next several years. So what do we see here? We saw this big blow off top back in 2017, and this is ADA BTC on the 1 week. I decided to go through with this chart because it has a longer price history in general. And obviously we saw this massive down move. 2018, we saw this bearish retest in the spring, and I remember this one as well. I remember thinking that my alts were going to be fine because this one formed a higher low on the weekly, but in reality, it was just a bearish retest, and price continued to just go lower and lower. So what did we see during 2018? We saw a massive downtrend in general, and price just continued lower. It did find a floor around 900 Satoshis, but then, and it did have a nice little run in the late spring, early summer of 2019, but then it further went down. I remember buying during this period, thinking that this was accumulation and thinking that this was just going to keep going higher, but in reality, it was just another bearish retest, and price just kept going lower. So what did we see here? We saw this consolidation, bearish retest, yet another lower high, and the market structure at this point is just incredibly bearish, right? It's still just lower highs and lower lows. And then 2019, this long period here, in my opinion, this was an accumulation period from August to basically May. There were some times when price kind of dipped up and then went back down within its range, but overall, I mean, this price action in general was pretty stagnant for the most part. I mean, there were, like, you could go 100% from the lows in January, and this was January 2020. Again, Q4 and early Q1 of the following year is usually pretty good for altcoins, and this happened again from January to March of 2020. And then from that point on, it pulled back. And after that, we saw a big run up in June and July. And this was a little earlier than, or I guess this was kind of the altcoin run in the summer of 2020. And decentralized finance had a big role to play in that. Dipped back down after everything retraced, and everything retraced market wide in the fall of 2020. And another thing to always remember is just that altcoins are always going to be somewhat correlated in general from a market standpoint. Altcoins in general will pump together and dump together, and ADA is no exception in my opinion. So after we saw ADA pull back to the EQ of this trading range back in 2019, it has done very well the last 4 or 5 weeks, or even longer. So where is ADA BTC right now on the 1 week? It's personally currently at a resistance area, and I will say area because some of the levels are a little unclear to me in general. In my opinion, this entire area is going to have some resistance, and something to consider too is that the ADA BTC chart is going to be more important than the ADA USD chart going forward, and that's because there is price history to the left for this pair. There is no price history for ADA USDT. I mean, this is just in price discovery. So you don't know where this is going to stall out. On ADA BTC, however, you do know where this is going to stall out because there are some clear resistance and support levels. So if price can break this 24 100 area, then I like the 4,000 region as the next level up. And there's going to be some smaller levels as well, like this level right here, around 3K sats is going to be a resistance area. But we're just going to wait to see what happens in this current area. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see some slight pullback in general. I mean, this volume is still pretty strong in general, but it would be healthy, in my opinion, to see price kind of dip down and then kind of consolidate a little bit, then go up. And again, in my opinion, it's going to depend a little bit on Bitcoin too. If Bitcoin pulls back or if it goes much higher, then I expect this one to fall, this pair to fall in general. And if it does range, then I expect this just to keep going higher and higher. We haven't seen a prolonged pump like this in quite a while. I mean, the move in the early summer of 2020, this was pretty strong in general, and there was like decent overall volume, as you can see right here. But it definitely wasn't super sustained, and this one is even more sustained right here. In my opinion, it's this is for a few reasons. Number one, the overall altcoin market and overall market in general is just much stronger than it was in 2020 in terms of total market cap, and just Bitcoin being strong is like healthy for the entire crypto market in general, just because everything pretty much goes through Bitcoin. And secondly, this area already has been tapped twice, so there aren't going to be as many sellers once price gets to these levels. And that's going to be an very important, interesting thing to look at going forward for many of these altcoins. Is many of them had these bearish retests back in around the summer of 2020, and now price is going through those areas now, and just basically there's no more sellers because this area has been tapped twice. So it's going to be interesting to see some of these old ERC20 coins and how they react over the next few weeks and months. I've always advocated in the past to not really buy these coins for a few reasons. Number one, their technology is a little outdated relative to some of the new hyped coins, for instance, Polkadot. And in general, there are going to be a lot of resistance areas from old bag holders. Like I guarantee you there's still a lot of people that bought at like 3,000 Satoshis in May of 2018. And once price gets to their break-even point, they're going to say, oh, you know what, I'm break-even here. Now I'm going to sell. So when you see these old levels and these old coins, generally speaking, they're going to have they're going to have old bag holders, sellers, aka resistance areas, in these areas here. So that's personally one of the reasons why I like to trade some of the newer coins over these old dinosaur coins, just because the newer coins don't have any old resistance areas and old bag holders in general. But that said, that's not saying that ADA can't pump. I mean, from what I've read, I think ADA actually has quite a bit of GitHub activity, and I know there are a lot of loyal supporters with the ADA community, so it's entirely possible this goes higher. Personally speaking, I think it's going to be very, very hard for it to get to these former highs. I mean, I find it unlikely myself, but I guess you never really know. I mean, you never say never in crypto. It's possible. I mean, it's still good volume follow-up, but the market back in 2017, early 2018 is very different than it is today. So in order for something like this to happen, I think maybe Bitcoin will just have to have a big blow off top, and then all the money will just fly to altcoins, and we see something similar to 2017. But again, with the way that the futures markets are for altcoins and the way that just the entire infrastructure is for the crypto market, I think it's unlikely that we see something like 2017 alt season play out in the way that it did play out, with alt BTC pairs just going like 20, 30, 100, 500x. I'm not saying it can't happen, and I do think that these altcoin cycles and alt seasons are going to happen. I just don't know if it's going to happen similar to 2017. So what am I trying to say here? I think that ADA is bullish overall. I mean, you can't call this bearish. It made a higher, it broke the highs from these 2019 and 2020 levels, and it's currently at a resistance area. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see this pull back eventually. I don't know where. It could eventually keep going higher to 3,000 and then pull back, but I do think a pullback would be somewhat healthy in general. Again, it's going to also depend on the BTC pair as well. So if you're just looking basically on lower time frames, I mean, it's kind of harder to find ideal entries if you're just trying to find like the perfect entry. I mean, I would probably just scale in myself. It still looks healthy. There's higher highs and higher lows overall. But again, price is at a resistance area. So something to be careful about. And I mean, overall, you can just check the EMAs. The EMAs are still relatively healthy. I mean, there's not a huge discrepancy between price and the EMAs. You know, it's something like 2,000 might, or 1,900 might be a good entry if on a big pullback. And if it goes bad, then 1,600 could be interesting as well. But again, that's going to take Bitcoin going, like either mooning or retracing back big. So that's the ADA BTC pair. And here is the ADA USD pair. And price again is still just very, very bullish. I mean, this basically went from what, 10 cents to $1.15. And in general, this is still like really nice. This is a nice chart. I mean, you're seeing basically impulse drive, consolidation, impulse drive. But again, it wouldn't surprise me to see some pullback in general with both pairs. I mean, we are seeing a lot of sell volume come in right now, and that's like usually indicative of some exhaustion and some distribution. So if we start to see more of this type of price action in general, where we just see like some kind of some ranging and still more sell volume, then I think that this is probably going to be pulling back. But again, that's not unhealthy. I mean, look at this run. I mean, it basically pretty much tripled in price over a very short amount of time, over less than a month. So pulling back is not really a big deal. I think that it's probably more likely that this is getting ready to pull back, frankly, but I'm not ready to call that yet given the overall structure of this chart. I mean, it's still a bullish chart in general. So, yep, I still think that, I mean, it's still a bullish chart. If price could certainly break 120, it's held up very well given the market conditions the last few days. But again, it wouldn't also surprise me to see price start to pull back big. But that's not saying that this is going to go all the way back down to 30 cents either. I mean, you never say never. Of course it could. It's crypto. But I think it's more likely if it does pull back that it'll just basically it'll just pull back to like there's going to be some levels along this area. I don't know where. And you can use fib charts as well. But personally, I think that, you know, some decent sized pullback with consolidation is healthy for this chart, and then another move up. But let's see. Again, I don't know where or when this is going to go, and overall, it still looks pretty good. So I am bullish on ADA overall, given the chart, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you.